There is a connection between the paranormal, UFOs, and the myths of ancient history. The clues are scattered across the landscape from a forbidden past, maybe even in your own backyard. There is a connection between the true nature of our reality, consciousness, and the unexplained. I'm Carl the Crusher. Let's explore the unknown. We have some exciting news coming out in the next 48 hours through News Nation and Ross Coulthart. A new whistleblower is going to step forward and talk about his incidents and experience firsthand on UFO crash retrieval programs and how he specifically saw one that was egg-shaped, just like a large egg. And he describes all of that. And he's going to be coming out on Saturday with a full-blown whistleblower testimony and allegedly evidence about all this. And he's an Air Force veteran, Jake Barber, and he's going to be coming forward with all of this and allegedly producing actual footage of this UAP. And then not only that, we have a special twist where 3 years ago, I interviewed a friend of mine who lives in Nevada, Jeremy Maedor, and he actually talked about how he was with a whole group of like 20 to 25 people with adults there when he was on a Cub Scout trip up a mountain in Nevada, kind of around Area 51 and Nellis Air Force Base. And they also witnessed an egg-shaped UFO. So let's go through this news from News Nation and check this out.
All right, UFO sightings the military can't explain. Congressional hearings, Pentagon whistleblowers, armadas of strange aircraft flying over, of all places, New Jersey. What does it all mean? Well, since last year's groundbreaking interview with whistleblower David Grush, News Nation's been out front on this story, and we've got another major exclusive. A new whistleblower is coming forward saying he's not just saying he's heard about a secret government program to retrieve UFO crash remains. He says he's worked on this program. He claims to have video to prove it and credentialed colleagues who back him up, and he has the attention of at least one senior lawmaker. News Nation's Ross Coulthart has been working on the story for more than a year. He conducted the interview for a special report airing right here this Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And News Nation correspondent Joe Khalil is here with a first look. Joe, these are pretty stunning claims.
Yeah, they are, Elizabeth. The man you saw in the video, Jake Barber, he's an Air Force veteran, and he is coming forward with some shocking claims. The first person to go public saying that he actually participated directly in a secret military program that he believes was to retrieve UAP or alien craft. Now, Barber says he was contracted as a helicopter pilot. He retrieved all kinds of crashed craft. Some of it, he says, top secret and explainable. Others, he says, however, he believes were non-human origin. It's not just him. We've got 3 other military veterans backing up his story on the record and on camera to News Nation. So take a listen quickly to just part of Ross Coulthart's conversation with Barber.
So tell me about the moment when you realized that you were involved in a retrieval of non-human technology, alien tech.
So it became very clear the first time our communication process and procedure was modified. And then just visually looking at the object on the ground, you could tell that it was extraordinary and anomalous. It was not human.
How close did you get?
Well, I was a helicopter pilot and I operate with 150 foot to 200 foot long line. So I got within 150 feet of this object.
What did you see?
I saw an egg, a white egg.
Was there any visible propulsion system on it?
No, not what we would know. There's no engine, there was no thermal signature. I was operating at night when I finally came in to pick it up, so I'm working under night vision goggles at the time. And it was quite clear. I flipped them up, flipped them down, and looked at it a couple of different ways.
How did you know that that egg-shaped object was non-human in origin?
Well, visually, after seeing all kinds of things in my past. It was clearly something that was ridiculously looking. It's inconsistent with anything I'd ever seen before. I can also tell you that the reaction by my team, we all knew we were dealing with something extraordinary.
And at no stage were you ever subsequently told that the craft was of non-human origin?
I will tell you that during this process over the last couple of years, it's been confirmed to me by ranking members of the UAP task force that what we were working with that night was in fact NHI, and it was not a unique experience.
So, Elizabeth, Saturday night, 8 p.m. is that special that you can see here. They've also got some exclusive video of one of these retrievals that's never before been seen. We've also confirmed Barber has met with some high-level Senate staff. So a lot there, and you're going to see all that this weekend.
Wow.
Fascinating stuff that's going to be coming out. So make sure and go follow News Nation and check out that report from Ross Coulthart. It's going to be Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And that's not all. We have a really cool, interesting throwback to 3 years ago when I did an interview with Jeremy Meador, and he tells a story about how he saw the almost exact same thing. So check out this story from 3 years ago, this interview that I did with Jeremy on this Nevada UFO landing that looked like an egg.
Yes, well, what got me started in ufology in general was kind of a weird story here. I was actually a Boy Scout or a Cub Scout in this instance back in 1998. I was on a trip called the Mom and Me weekend, is what they called it. And what the whole point of the trip was you're supposed to get a Cub Scout coming up there with their mom, and they were supposed to do different activities like hiking or shooting, archery, things like that. But you're supposed to be spending time with your mom. Well, at the time I was like 8 or 9 years old. We were up at Mount Potosi, which is over by Blue Diamond, Nevada. It's about at that point in time
southwest of Las Vegas.
Yes, it's outside of Vegas.
So it's actually not. So Area 51, just for people that aren't familiar with the state, Area 51 and that whole pretty much covers underground almost the entire state. It feels like when you're driving around, there's weird conduits and pipes and strange anomalies that make you wonder if they've got tunnels and installations underground in that entire state of Nevada and even under part of Utah. But you're saying this is southwest of Las Vegas. Most stuff happens to the north of Las Vegas, where Area 51 is, all the way up to Rachel and around that region. But this is to the southwest in the mountain region. So that's good to know.
Yeah. Well, there's a whole other story about underground tunnels in the area. I'll get into that in a minute.
Okay.
But yeah, so I was on this Cub Scout trip, and as part of the trip, we were supposed to take a night hike, and you're supposed to go down this big long trail, and about a mile or two down the road, there's almost like an outside planetarium, like a sitting area. And we were going to go look up at the stars and go look at planets and things like that. So I know for a fact, there was 20 or 25 parents and 20 or 25 kids, because I remember my mom was one of the people that was hosting this event. So everyone was kind of walking in a big group with one of the other leaders, like walking in front of everyone. And a little ways back was me, my mom, and another parent and her kid. And what was weird was it was one of those nights where it was brightly lit outside, where it wasn't super dark. Once you had your flashlight up for a while, you could actually, like, your eyes would adjust. So we were going down this trail, and all of a sudden my mom was the first one that pointed this out. There was an object. It looked like an egg was the only way I could explain it, but it had a point coming out to the side. And I remembered the first thing my mom pointed out was there was this point on this object, and we thought it was the end of a boat, is what I compared it to, and it was sticking out of the trees. So we stopped, and we were looking at this object. It looked like a silver-looking egg on 3 to 4 stilts with a point coming off to the side. There was no windows. There was no openings at all on this thing, but it was just sitting there. And I remembered my mom stopping and talking to this other parent, and they were wondering what it was, because for those of you who aren't familiar with the area, this specific mountain is what at that point in time was a Boy Scout and Cub Scout camp. There was no reason at all for anyone to be going up there that wasn't a Boy Scout, because this was a private area. Nowadays, they're building houses up there. But at that point in time, if you weren't a Boy Scout or a Cub Scout, you weren't allowed to go up there because they had like gates and things. So I know for a fact that we were the only ones on this mountain. So I don't have no idea what this object was. So we sat there talking about it for a minute. We eventually went up the trail to join the other main group, and we were looking up at the sky, and we kind of did our thing looking up at the planets and all that. When we came back down the mountain, the object was gone, and we don't know what it was, but it was probably like 10 or 11. I'd say between 9 and 11 at night, I'd say roughly. I don't remember the exact time, but I know it was between like about 9 and 11 at night. The next morning, we had to actually walk past that same part on the trail to go or do archery and BB gun shooting the next day. And I remembered my mom, me, and the same parent and her kids stopped there and started talking about what we had seen the night before in that same area. And this is in the daytime, of course. And I remembered we couldn't see any kind of impressions or anything where the object was sitting, and you couldn't see any kind of evidence this thing was there. But I still to this day don't know what it was. The only thing I could wrap my mind around is that it was possibly some kind of a UFO or a UFO, I don't know, some kind of alien-like object that was sitting there for some reason. I don't know what its purpose was, or it wasn't gigantic. I'd like to mention it was about the size of a car, so it wasn't gigantic. Whatever,
like a Volkswagen Beetle, but egg-shaped or something.
Yeah, that's what I would compare it to. Probably like the size of a car. So I don't know if there would be any kind of a living creature. If there was aliens inside this thing, it wouldn't be more than like 1 or 2 aliens, I guess, if you wanted to get into that. But
can I just,
like I said, when we were there, you couldn't see any kind of windows or openings or anything. I don't know really what it was doing up there.
Jeremy, did you look up in the sky at the time that you saw this craft to see if there was anything going on in the air?
When we went up to like the sky watching area where we were looking at the planets and everything, we did actually see weird lights in the sky. But at that point in time, because I was little, I wasn't really paying attention. But I do remember my mom to this day, when you bring that story up, she will say that her and some of the older people were talking about lights in the sky. And I do remember them talking about it, but I didn't see it for myself at that time.
So this was an egg-shaped thing sitting like on a tripod legs that had sort of a point coming off the side of it. What color would you? And it was about the size of a car. Yeah,
it was like a silver gray looking color. Actually, on my blog on my website, I drew a diagram of what I thought the object looked like, and I think it was about 2-3 weeks ago. I did the post.
Where do I go to see this? In the gallery?
It's on my blog. It's to the right.
The blog, okay, yep. Nevada UFO blog.
And then it should say 1998. It should be the second or third one from the top.
Second or third one from the top. Let's see.
That one.
This one?
For the mouse. Yeah, click on that one.
Okay.
And if you scroll down, you'll see the diagram I drew of the...
So this is the location. If you see, this is Las Vegas right over here, and the trail's going up here, and then up into this is the actual location where the sighting occurred, to the southwest of Las Vegas. This is a great site, by the way. I was poking around here and I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I had a week to go through this to prepare for the show. Yeah. There's so much. So
that's I drew that, but I'm not very good at drawing, but that's the way I drew it like about 2-3 weeks ago.
That's exactly the way I visualized it from your description. So
and if you go down, I drew another diagram of where we were standing and like where the object would have been.
Okay, so that's where you guys were kind of, and this is
and it was like there was a group of trees, like the trees got thick a little ways off, but it was kind of where the tree line starts, I guess is the best way to word it. So it wasn't like hidden in the trees. It was like right at the edge of the trees.
That's so odd. And what's
Carl,
really, yes.
If I could just interject, because I've been to this location.
Yeah.
And I could tell you there's a ton of trees out there, and there are no people. Even now, even though that there is some construction going on, it's still very sparsely populated. But
Are these like junipers, like the desert scrub brush type trees that you find in Nevada, or these are pretty decent?
They're
trees?
real trees. Yeah. It seems unlikely because we're so close to the desert, but I think this is part of the Sierra Nevada mountain range. So you have really rich, thick forested areas. And there are trails, walking trails and vehicle dirt roads to get in and out of there. But again, hardly anybody goes in there.
So there you have it. If you want to go listen to that full interview, it's on my Carl Vibe, the podcast channel. I don't really post over there that much anymore, but if you want to go check out that interview, highly recommend it. If you want to hear the whole thing, we have one more interview with Ross that I want to go over with you guys. That's super fascinating and gives a little bit more detail. And we have to ask ourselves now, is this the same egg-shaped UFO craft? Is the footage that we're going to see come out from this whistleblower, who is the helicopter pilot that witnessed this egg-shaped craft, is he going to describe the same thing with tripod legs, a point off the back, or is this a different one and crashed? Is it going to be in the same location in Nevada? We're going to have to wait and find out until Saturday, but we will see. So check this out.
People have had a gutsful with being gaslit and being told that they're not seeing what they're seeing. They want answers. They genuinely want transparency. And I think we're at a point now where with these witnesses we've got coming forward this weekend, Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, we're putting out a story where we've got multiple witnesses who are giving first-hand evidence of a retrieval program of, believe it or not, and I know this is confronting, alien craft. The allegation is that the United States has recovered non-human technology. And I know that's mind-blowing, but for many Americans it will be confronting, but it's real, and it really is real. And I've been talking now for 2+ years to people who work inside this program, and they're really frustrated. They want America to know about this because they're very excited about these discoveries, and they think it's time the public knew.
I mean, you broke this story, for us right here on News Nation with your sit-down interview with David Grush. You have another big special airing this weekend that you just mentioned. And I wanted to air a little bit of that because you recently interviewed the Air Force veteran. His name is Jacob Barber. He's the whistleblower who says he was the helicopter pilot who retrieved UAPs for the government. Let's take a quick listen to what he told you and what he saw.
How long have you known this secret about unidentified anomalous phenomena being of non-human origin?
For more than 10 years. We did recover things that were exotic in nature in the sky, and we know they were classified craft. And we recovered them and took them back to where they go.
Now that is clearly technology that is certainly not known.
I got within 150 feet of this object.
We are not alone.
We are not alone.
I mean, Ross, wow. I mean, more than 10 years. What about his story stood out from the countless other interviews that you've conducted over the years?
It's his credibility. The man is a former Tier 1 elite military serviceman. He's worked at the highest levels of the US military. And in order to prove that, we spoke to colleagues of his who are members, or former members rather, of Delta Force, like one of the most elite military units in the US military. And they are telling us this man is an absolute straight arrow. He's decorated, he's well recognized, well respected, and more importantly, they corroborate. We have people who corroborate this man's story that he was involved in retrievals on a place he calls the Range. Out of respect to the government, he's not revealing exactly where that is, nor is he revealing the intelligence agency that he was an operative for. But basically, he's saying that for many, many years, he was working for a 3-letter intelligence agency in the United States involved in the retrieval of alien spacecraft. And the incredible thing about this, Marky, is everybody shakes their head and goes, oh, this is nonsense.
Yes, this is crazy. Yeah.
I know. And I thought that too when I first started investigating this, but believe me, it's true. And I find it absolutely incredible because people in uniform, people at the highest levels of the intelligence community are telling me it's time that America knew this secret.
Yeah.
So there you have it, you guys. We have whistleblower testimony from Jacob Barber coming out this Saturday on News Nation, describing the exact same thing, this egg-shaped vehicle-sized craft that looked like it was of non-human origin, that made no sense. And so looking forward to this. Make sure and stay tuned. Go and follow News Nation. If you want to go watch more, check out that other interview with Jeremy Mador over on the Carl Vibe channel and look that up. And also stay tuned. We're going to be reporting. I'm going to be watching this when the report comes out with this whistleblower and we hear the full story. Allegedly, there's going to be actual footage and images, video footage of one of these crash retrievals. Are we going to see the egg-shaped crash, or is it going to be a different craft, or we'll find out. But I'm very excited to get some more people coming forward. It seems like almost every week now, we're getting someone new stepping forward with these new whistleblower protection laws that are starting to get in place. And it's making a difference. People are speaking up. People are coming forward. And so let me know what you think. Are these orbs, spheres, egg-shaped craft, football-shaped craft? These are what we're talking about. Are these some kind of exotic drone technology? Or are these really ultra-terrestrial or extraterrestrial, strange interdimensional technology that is being left behind or dug up from archaeological sites? We will find out from this new whistleblower this Saturday. And until then, we will see you in the next one.